Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and today we are continuing the 100 Dragon Challenge. So, we are finally rounding out the 7 deadly sins. We are on the final of the 7. I wanted to finish this off before I started any other new mini-series, so today we are drawing the Envy Dragon. So first and foremost, my thought process for this was I wanted to make sure to make this dragon green to have the idea of green with envy, but I also wanted it to be different enough from greed because we also had another green dragon there. So my first thoughts were, okay, when someone is envious, they're basically looking at the things that other people have and wanting them for themselves. Like they just want and covet the things that other people possess, that they're just always watching and seeing what other people have that they want. So with that idea in mind, I was like, well, what if, to go along with the green theme, we did something like a frog, but the big, there's probably a technical term for it that is escaping my brain. The big inflatable neck thing that a frog has, what if instead it was a giant eyeball? I know I've done multi-eyed dragons before, especially with like the 1,000-Eye Dragon that was based off a, wow, all the names are escaping me today. It's based off of a D&D monster mashed with a dragon. Beholder, that's it. Just took me a second. The Beholder mashed with a dragon. I already knew I had a bunch of eyes with that one, but I wanted to do another multi-eyed dragon. So with the general idea ready and set in my mind, it was time to jump in and do the final pose and sketch. So I really wanted to show off that giant eyeball on its throat, and I was just so excited to make that the main focal point. So in my original sketch, I had it at a 3/4 turn, but I was like, what if it was just facing you straight on, and this giant eyeball is looking right at you, along with all the other eyes on its head and on its neck are basically all pointed towards you. It would be so creepy and awesome, and I love the idea of just this giant thing watching you, and like maybe it like scans you and sees what things you have and like wants to take them. Like if this was a Dungeons and Dragons encounter, maybe it would target the people that have the highest rated magical items or something similar to that. Or maybe someone who had the most gold, or maybe could detect maybe like happiness and like attack the person who's been most happy, or basically it attacks someone that has something it doesn't have, which I'm curious what it would be. That would be a really fun mechanic to figure out and see what we could decipher and make for this creature. For sure, I'd love to put him in my future monster manual. I think now that there's gonna be a second one, we might as well have another multi-eyed dragon in both monster manuals. Maybe that should be the consistent thing. Monster manual number 3, we'll figure out another way to make a horrid multi-eyed creepy dragon. It'll be perfect, it'll be great. And then also just a fun fact for this one, my idea when I was jumping into this of which which frog to base this dragon on, I was thinking of like those green tree frogs with like the orange hands and like hints of blue and red and different colors all over it. That's kind of what I was thinking for this one when I was starting to do the line art. I know I'm talking about colors before we even get to color, but I just wanted this overall look to be similar to a tree frog, and then I also added some kind of alligator-like aspects. Like I feel its mouth is like an interesting combo between a frog and an alligator. I think the teeth coming out from the bottom gives it that alligator look, but the overall head structure still is very reminiscent of a frog. And I know there's a lot of you who have been requesting a frog dragon. I've seen a lot of comments for that one, so this one is kind of your frog dragon. It's not off the table that I probably in the future could do literally only a frog dragon. Like that's the only thing it's based off of. It's not combined with a deadly sin, but I mean, you get a frog dragon kind of early, I guess you could say, kind of early. I don't know. Either way, you got a frog dragon, and a cool one at that. Like this one is super creepy, and I really loved adding all the eyeballs and just making it look so interesting and kind of demonic. Like it's really cool. I don't know. I'm really gushing about this one because I was really proud of this. This is kind of like, I know the Pride Dragon was technically my first dragon back after taking my hiatus, but this one I feel I'm finally back in the groove. Like I didn't fully dislike my Pride Dragon, but it wasn't my favorite. I felt it could have been better, but this one I'm like, oh yeah, I'm back in it. I'm back at making dragons, man, I'm feeling it, I'm good to go. So I just was really proud of this one and really love how it turned out in the end. So first off with the colors, I wanted to do those bright orangey red yellow eyes. I thought at first of making all the eyes very similar to the tree frog, which usually are just like that really stark red. But I was like, I don't want to just have a bunch of big red circles everywhere. Like, I know I can add the gradation that I needed to in the eyes, but I thought it would just be so much more impactful to have the yellow to orange to reddish orange transition in each of the eyes. And I thought it just worked out better. And it will complement really well with the green skin and the blues, like just all really nice complementary colors. They're all just working so nicely together, and I absolutely love it. It was a little tedious to color all of the eyes. I started with just doing a base layer of the yellow, and then I'd go in and add the orange on top of it, then go back and add yellow over it to help it blend, and then I would add the red, and then add orange over the red to help it blend. There's a fun little Copic tip for you guys if you guys have been struggling with how to blend your markers. It's basically you take the lighter color and blend it back over the darker color, so then it all blends together, or you can use one of the colorless blenders. I have found this technique a little bit better. I like it more than just using the colorless blenders, so I'd really recommend trying it if you haven't already, or if you're struggling with making your colors look cohesive for your drawings. And I think that will work with any alcohol marker, so I'd try it out, see what works, and try it out and see what you like. So now we're into coloring the different patches of color for our big tree dragon. So for the stomach, I made it more of this lightish, yellowish tan. I guess it's not tan, it's just like a really light yellow color. And then I started with first adding the different color highlights, like the blues and the oranges, to make sure that they popped and they were in the right places. And it just kind of was the idea of going from lighter to darker. I should have technically started with the blue first if I wanted to actually adhere to lighter to darker, but you know, this ended up working fine. And after I got all the blues and oranges laid down, it was time to jump in and really hit this thing with the greens. And this is when I was really starting to see it slowly come together and just the colors working so well together. So now with all the base skin colors laid down, it was time to jump in and do all of my shadows. So I really wanted to push the shading on this one because with the frog, I wanted it to kind of look a little moist, a little gross and wet. So I knew that I was gonna have some, you know, more extreme highlights with my white gel pen. So I was trying to really push the shadow and shaded areas on this creature. When I was doing the greens though, I noticed I felt like my shadow of greens was a little too light. So I put it down, I let it dry, I felt it out, and I moved on to the wings to start afterwards, but I do go back and make those shadows a lot darker. For the wings, I wanted to replicate the idea of the eyes on the wings. It's kind of similar to how some butterflies have like those larger circular patterns that look like eyes. That's kind of what I was thinking for this. And it's just, you know, reinforcing the idea of this thing is always watching you and seeing what you have and what it wants from you. I just wanted that to be reinforced in its wing patterning. And then I was going back and forth on if I wanted to do the whole wing like webbing blue. I didn't know what other color I wanted to use because I didn't really want to introduce a new color to this palette. Like it was already pretty colorful as it was. But I was going back and forth between the blue and like the chest color, but I'm really glad I picked the blue. I think it works really well for this one. And this is just such a very tropical and interesting dragon. I think it just looks like it would be in the middle of a really dense rainforest. I think it would be a really cool encounter to have. Like maybe there's a D&D game you run that's more in the tropics. Oh, that'd be cool too. I don't know, I'm getting so many ideas with this one and I absolutely love it. And I did mention this in my last video, but I'm gonna plug it here too. If you guys would like me to do a Monster of the Month on my Patreon, I'd love to know. Basically, you'd pay $5 a month to get a monster every month with full lore and stats for your D&D games. And then I was also gonna include a high resolution image file so you can have them all for yourself. You can put it as a desktop for your computer or your phone or whatever you want. So let me know right here in the poll if you're interested in that type of thing. Or if you want, down in the comments, let me know if you have an idea for a Patreon like tier that you'd be interested in. And then along with that, make sure to let me know if you guys have any dragon ideas. I have a couple of ways you can submit it. You can either say it down in the comments below, or I have a Discord where you can go join our community, socialize for a bit, and then feel free to post your dragon ideas. And then I also have a Twitter thread that you can reply to that I have a bunch of Twitter comments on there. So I'd love to see what ideas you guys have. So there we go, we are done with the Envy Dragon and the 7 Deadly Sins. Thank you everyone who suggested this mini-series for the 100 Dragons. It was really fun, but let's go ahead and look back at your guys' Pride Dragons. Lots of really cool entries. You guys like really blew it out of the water like every week. I say this all the time, but really diverse and interesting ideas, super cool. Alex M. draws, I just love your little cute kingly portrait of your Pride Dragon, really well rendered, super cute, I absolutely adore it. IDS World Art, I read your description and I love that you did some research and looked at kind of all the things that would make this dragon look prideful, like you got the peacock and the crown and like the different patterning and the cape. Really great job. Lots of research was put into this and I really appreciate that. And then Zaynes Get, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I really love the armor. The purple armor looks super sick, and this just looks like a really cute video game character. Like I could totally see this in like a little mobile RPG game, or like maybe a, I don't know, a Pokemon-esque like game, like a summoning monster thing. I don't know, it would be super cute in a game. And again, you guys did great. Thank you all so much for participating every week in the 100 Dragon Challenge. I love seeing these and it's just a blast that I get to share this with you guys. So if you guys would like to join in on this week's Envy Dragon, post your dragon on either Twitter or Instagram with the hashtag KM100Dragons and try to get them in basically Thursday, I don't know, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's usually when I'm trying to wrap up the editing. So if you can get it in before then, I will be able to see it and review it before I pick who I get to feature. So thanks again guys so much for stopping by and checking out this video. And if you aren't already, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and join our little community of my little tater tots. And then if you guys like this video, please leave a like. And I can't wait to see what other dragon ideas you guys have for me to create in the future. So thanks again guys so much, and I will see you all next time. Bye everybody.